pants, clean body. Dirty pants, clean body.
That's the way, dirty pants and a clean body indeed. And speaking of clean bodies, good evening to you all. And a very warm welcome to Thursday Night Live with me, coming live in... Sorry, I've just been distracted by something else. Coming live into your eyes and your ears, direct from Windy-Bottom, here in the Peak District National Park. And as usual, it is nothing less than a sheer orgasmic joy to be with you tonight. And during the next 56 minutes, I would like to find out what you've been up to today, how you're feeling, what you've been eating, and I would like lunch and dinner, stroke supper, or tea if you're from the working class, and anything else you want to tell me, basically. It is, of course, Mad Thursday, so tonight anything goes. You throw anything you like at me and we will run with it. We'll poke it up the, pop it up the flagpole, and see if the trousers fall down or something like that. Sorry, somebody's still rattling on at me there. Right, who've I got? Bodadar, Boaty, you splendid gentleman, says Barry, and Bodadar to you. Good evening all, says the lovely Joe. Joe Cox, of course. I hope everyone is healthy and had a great day. I echo those rather pleasant wishes. Jaden of Everything Cars is with us and says, good evening, gentlemen. Slightly sexist, but I think we possibly are all chaps. If there aren't any ladies, please don't take offence and do shout out. Hello all, hope you're well. It's Neil, the lovely Neil Gibbons. Oh, and the usual applause and accreditation for the intro music. I'm glad that every single one of you thinks that it's wonderful and you can't wait to hear it again. I'm the same. I can't get enough of it. What have you been up to, Boaty? Asked Jaden. Well, I'm about to tell you. New car, says Joe. It's not. It's just a car that's had a thing today. I'll tell you about it in a sec. Adam's here. Good evening, everyone. Jaden says, Boaty, what's the worst car you've ever had? It would be an FSO 125P, registration number B352OHP. I mean, it was, for those who aren't familiar, it was a downgraded, if you can believe that, Polish-built version of a Lada Rover, and it was absolutely awful. I was desperate for a car. I was running a small chain of pubs at the time, And the guy who owned, who was part owner of the chain of pubs, was a car dealer. And he gave me that for next to nothing, which was approximately 3 times more than it was worth. I mean, it had a fantastic heater, but it was like 1950s technology. Had the worst headlights of all. Mind you, I can't grumble. I had jolly good use out of that car. Got me all over the place. Had all sorts of adventures in it. But that's probably the worst car I've ever had, I think. Let me quickly just think about that. I mean, I've had other cars that are like disappointing, but objectively, that's probably the worst I've ever had, I think. Evening members, says Black Lines, who is of course a member himself. Oh, and before I forget, there's more and more stuff that's sort of going on the daily diaries and isn't going anywhere else. And if any of you would love to be channel members so that you see those daily, but you can't afford the 99p, just shout me privately and I will very happily send you a quid so that you can join in on a daily basis. I hate to think of anybody missing out because they're skint, and you know, we're all a bit skint, but I can spare a quid if anybody needs it. I think I haven't checked my bank balance today, but I'm pretty sure I can spare a quid. Again, says Barry, I'll be doing more listening than talking. And again, you've said that, and I bet we hear plenty from you, but you stay safe. Sophie is with us and says, hi, everyone. Was the number plate TO55ERS taken? There's a subject for discussion. Private / cherished registrations. Are they for tossers? Or are they an okay thing? Now, I've swayed on that over the years. At the moment, I wouldn't have one. I simply wouldn't buy one. I like the car to be on the original number plate. But I will admit I've had quite a few in the past. I got myself JPH 30 for my 30th birthday. I've had I've had loads. I think the cleverest ones I got was when I was going through a Citroen period, and I had both a 2 litre and a 3 litre XM, and I bought the number plates A12 LXM and A13 LXM, but spaced them A1 2L XM, as in A1 2 litre XM, and A1 3L XM, as in A1 3 litre XM. When I was working, I had one related to ambulances when I was working for the NHS. I had some really quite nice private plates on Jaguars, but not something I'd do now. So what's your opinion on private plates, and have you got one? Diddly-do, diddly-do. Jaden thinks he's going to join City Rover. God bless you, I hope you do. I have one, says Neil, so I'm guessing, yeah, they're for tossers. Oh, of course you have. Yeah, you've got one on the ZTT, haven't you? I've got 3 number plates, says Joe, so I must be a massive tosser. Barry, who's going to be doing more listening than talking, says BMW should have a certain registration as a number. How have you been, Boaty? Asked Sophie. I'm grand, Sophie. Thank you for asking. That's very kind. Now, the reason why I was dangling these keys at you, they're not new keys, they're keys to an existing vehicle. And they are the keys to Betty Blue, aka Melanie Mingebag, who, as I'm sure you will all remember, is a 2003 MG TF Cool Blue Limited Edition, which has had a shed load of stuff done to it. Now, you might have noticed that Mingebag has been kind of ignored since she came along. And the reasons for that are twofold. One is that there was a known issue with the overheating situation. But the other one is that Mingebag has been on a trade policy. And I don't want to push my luck with a card on a trade policy using it for non-trade purposes. However, today, the insurance policy that I had on, what was it on? It was the insurance policy I had on Sir Arnold, the 75 CDTI Connoisseur. And when I sold that, that policy just sat there doing nothing for a few months because often if you pay monthly, then often it's cheaper or as cheap to just let the policy run, even though you don't own the car anymore. But you don't tell the insurance company that, of course, because they would force you to cancel it. But it's cheaper to let it run than it is to cancel and pay whatever the cancellation fee is. So when Derek came along, and it became clear that I was going to be using Derek as a pseudo daily for a while, I swapped the policy onto Derek. But of course, Derek is no longer in my keep. And hopefully will no longer be in the Mustard and Boaty do cars keep, because hopefully he's going to be sold any day now. So today I swapped that policy onto Mingebag, so she is fully and properly insured. And I decided that it's a nice day, sun shining, it was warm. I decided that I was going to take her to work and just jolly well see what happened. And I did, and I'm going to tell you all about it. But I will just catch up on the comments first. A message held for review. Yes, that's the one, Neil. That is indeed the one. Joe says, talking about his number plates, one that's on my mum's car, one I had as a business plate, and another with my surname on. Thank you, Sophie. Skick says, I've been to see Oppenheimer, whatever that is. Would you say dropping the 2 bombs on Japan was a war crime? Yeah, I would, Skick. To be perfectly honest, yes, I would. But many things that happened in World War II and before and since were also war crimes. There's a French phrase which it's kind of colloquial. I actually used it in a video with Mustard when we were going down to, why do the flies always come out when I'm doing a live stream? You don't see them otherwise. When we were going down to see that MGF or TF. Oh, it was an F, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a limited edition F. We should have bought that car. I might still see if it's available. Anyway. And Mustard was talking about the fact that it might be a wasted trip, and I used the phrase "c'est la guerre," which is a French colloquial phrase that kind of doesn't mean what it literally means. "C'est la guerre" literally means it is the war, but as a colloquial phrase, it kind of means, well, in these situations, these things can happen, and that just goes hand in hand with the situation itself. And I would say that war crimes are kind of c'est la guerre in a war, and people tend not to play war by a particular set of rules. And, the Russian invasion of Ukraine is the obvious example of that. The obvious current example. There are war crimes being committed there, left, right and centre. And, and everybody's aware of it, and nothing is really being done about it, because war is a very delicate thing. unless you're dealing with somebody very, very small indeed, if you're dealing with a nation that has nuclear capacity, then what do you do? I mean, do you risk escalation to a nuclear situation? Or do you just kind of have to, go down a diplomatic route, apply sanctions, hope that it's not too bad, and then deal with the situation when it's all finished, which is what what the West seem to be doing in this situation. Myself personally, I would grasp the nettle with two hands. I mean, I would try not to escalate, but if I were NATO, then I would put troops into the Ukraine and I would repel the Russian forces. I wouldn't, and I would help Ukraine in terms of retaliatory strikes as well as their defense. I wouldn't use NATO troops or NATO weapons deployed by NATO on Russian territory, and by Russian territory I mean Russia, not anything that they've annexed arbitrarily. Because, I don't know, maybe it's an age thing, but well, it's kind of like bullying, isn't it? I mean, do you just, if you're okay, then do you just turn a blind eye to other people not being okay because you don't want things not to be okay for you? And that's kind of the way that it's always gone on this planet. Wars have always happened, war crimes have always occurred, and the most appalling crimes against humanitarian crimes have gone on around the world, and they've been often ignored by those who are not directly involved. The older that I've got, I've come around to the John Donne way of thinking. No man is an island and heart of itself. Any man's death diminishes me, for I'm involved in mankind. And I would be in favour of just stepping in when people cross over the line. And if that means that some idiot presses the nuclear button, then so be it. I mean, it would only happen once. And then either humanity would be at an end, or humanity would learn its bloody lesson and never allow that situation to occur again. I mean, that's kind of what happened after the atomic bombs, wasn't it? It's kind of the equivalent of my ex-wife allowing the kids to, when we're in the kitchen playing cards, allowing the kids in the living room to argue, shout, whatever, tell them to calm down, be diplomatic. That didn't work. Apply sanctions, right? No pocket money, grounded. That didn't work either. And then eventually she'd say, right, get up, storm into the living room, and all I'd hear was, ow, 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 and then it would all be over with, and everything would be fine, and everybody would be friends. So maybe that's what the world needs. Maybe that's what Russia and other nations that are indulging in nation building and annexation and whatnot. Maybe they need a good Irish woman like my Maggie to go in there and smack a few asses. I don't know. But there we are. Boaty, says Jaden, have you driven a classic Mini? Shed loads, more than I could ever count, and I've owned many. I've owned many as well. I've had bell noses, clubmans, travellers. Is that what you called the estate? I had a van, all sorts. You name it, I've driven it, and I used to be very fond of them. I haven't driven one for a long time. Indeed, my first proper girlfriend, who was also a fiancée, because when you're that age and you have your first real love, then you think you're going to get married, don't you? So naturally you propose. My mother, bless her, I imparted the glad tidings that we were engaged and going to get married And my mother said, "Oh, how lovely," rather than "oh, fuck," which would have been the correct thing. But anyway, yeah, Donna, she had a Mini, a white one, a Clubman. Used to have holes in the floor in the back so you could throw your rubbish out, which I would never do now. That's another thing that you stop doing when you grow up a bit. You stop littering the world that we live in. So yeah, good question, Jaden, but I've driven and owned many. Black lines, yes, my plate is my name. Ha! Skick has got 2 private plates, L9 AMB and W444 AMG. Don't tell me the clutch is slipping on that one now, says Neil. No. The worst thing ever invented was a nuclear bomb, says Neil. It ended up being a game of who's got the bigger bomb. Yeah, pretty much. And Joe says there's a plate at the moment that is JC51ROV. I'm tempted to buy it as it's my initials, birth year and Rover. What, you were born in 1951, Joe? Bloody hell. You look good for your age, son, I'll give you that. So, minge bag, yeah. So, we knew that there was an issue with the overheating, fan cutting in thing, all of that. I thought, sod it. I'm going to take it to work and I'm just going to see how I get on. So, all started well. All started well until the car's been sitting on the road. I gave it a quick sponge over before heading off. But I didn't leather it down or dry it with a drying cloth. Is leathering down still a thing? You know, in my mind, when you wash the car, you leather it down with a chamois, but of course you can get these posh drying cloths. I've got one and it's jolly good, to be fair to it. But anyway, I didn't do that. So as happens, the water kind of dried in streaks on the windscreen. So as I'm going along on the way to work, enjoying being it, and let me remind you about a couple of things about Minge Bag, right? I told you she's a 2003 Cool Blue limited edition MGTF 135, but remember all the work it's had done to it. So it's been K-mapped to the nth degree. So it's a hell of a lot more powerful than it would have been factory. It's got a full stainless steel sports exhaust system on it, which sounds amazing. It's got a full carbon fiber induction kit on it, which also helps it sound amazing. It's got tweaked suspension. It's got full LED lighting inside and outside, and that is pretty amazing, let me tell you. What else? It's got uprated alloys, and the reason it's got uprated alloys, it's been uprated to the 11s, the 16-inch 11s, because they are the only alloy that will accommodate the brake upgrade it's also had. It's got the massive 160 4-pot calipers on the front, which are amazing. You only have to wave your foot anywhere near the brake pedal and you'll go through the windscreen. They're transformatory in terms of an F or TF, whose brakes are normally absolutely pants. What else? All sorts of other things it's had, which make it an absolute hoot, holler, and a blast to drive. I mean, she's quick, she sounds amazing, and the further up the rev range you go, the more amazing she sounds. So I'm enjoying just driving along in her, giving her a little bit of right foot, not too much, because until I'm certain that the oil is up at full temp, I'm not going to be giving her any welly, am I? I'm not a fool. Keeping an eye on the temperature gauge, a Naturelma, and I've got these streaks on the windscreen, and you've got the afternoon sun coming through the windscreen, and it's not looking great. So I think I will wash the windscreen, and I did so. I pulled the right hand stalk towards me, I deployed the wash, which was very pleasing. I could smell that it had just the right amount of screen wash in there. The spray was in exactly the right place on both sides. However, the wipers didn't operate. And I thought, oh well, either it's got a BCU thing like Brian, so that they don't wipe automatically when you wash, or on this model, they're just not designed to wipe automatically when you wash. Not a problem, I thought. I will just flick wipe. So stalk downwards, single wipe. Nothing. Zero. Zip. Nada. Zilch. Oh dear, I thought. Only in not so many words. And so then I tried the intermittent setting. Nothing. Then I tried the normal speed setting. Nothing. And then I tried the double speed setting. You guessed it. Nothing. So that was a bit of an issue. And I thought, well, at this point, I've kind of gone a bit too far, and I haven't got time to spare. So I've gone a bit too far to go back home and change cars, you know? So, and I'm looking at the sky thinking, well, it's a nice day. I mean, if it rains, I'm going to be utterly buggered. But it doesn't look or feel as if it's going to rain. So let's carry on and let's hope for the best. And I'll just read some comments and I'll come back to that. The private reg I have, God, you've all got private regs, says Rover Joe, and good evening to you, by the way, is R25 OVR on my Rover 25. Yeah, I've seen that, haven't I, Joe? Of course I have. And yes, indeed, that's quite a good one. One of my favourite ones is the one on Simon Braders, who owns the 25 that was tarted up in quite a half-assed manner, it turns out, by the Drive Tribe people. He's got a splendid plate on that. I can't remember what it is, but I just remember thinking that it was very clever. One of those clever ones, you know, which are kind of more forgivable than just the ones like PCB1, you know, I'm important. Or P1 LOT, that sort of thing. I mean, I quite like Chris Eubanks, 1KO or IKO. But yeah, I quite like that one, Joe. That's not a bad one. Haha, says Joe. 2001. God, you're a fetus. But I know it can also be 1950. Oh, right, yeah, 51 would have been 2001, wouldn't it? Yeah, of course it would. Late 2001. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from now, Joe. Neil says, I'm currently making an induction kit for my diesel ZTT. The most expensive diesel ZTT in the world. My goodness me. But a rather nice thing. I've had the pleasure of being transported in that car. And it was a pleasure because we were going to the Milkston Road for lunch, which Neil very kindly paid for. My turn next time when you come here. I mean, I won't buy, well, I will buy it. I'll buy the things that I cook. Oh, Skick again, jolly good. Channel member Skick, thank you, Skick. Mustard got offered a courtesy card on the insurance when he had the accident and refused it. What a silly move that was. I would agree with you, Skick, in a way, but he did explain to me privately why he did that, and it did make sense. Neil says, not silly at all. I nearly got fined at 120 quid for scratching an alloy on a BMW I got as a hire car, and I have never curbed a wheel. They find a scratch and bill you for it, Skick. Joe says, not really, Skick. It's a good idea to have not taken it. And yeah, those were part of the reasons that Mustard gave. Obviously, if you're involved in a prank, even if it's not your own fault, it kind of dents your confidence a bit, and you worry about what if. And Yeah, one of the reasons he didn't want to take it was because he was concerned about what the ramifications would be if he happened to be involved in another no-fault accident. Would there be an excess that he would be expected to pay? What if the car got damaged outside his home or in the yard or anything like that? He wasn't comfortable with it, and I totally get that. Adam doesn't have a private reg, fair enough. Rover Joe has opened up an eBay shop recently selling Rover parts, and it's going pretty good so far. All funds are going towards the welder I'm getting. Well, fair play to you, sir. Fair play indeed. And I see that you're doing those printy car things with the reg, and I think they look absolutely brilliant. So bloody good luck with both enterprises, mate. I hope they both go really, really well. Tell me the name of the eBay shop, and I'll give you a shout out on the live, and I'll give you a shout out in a video as well. And those prints that you're doing, which are really great, Joe's bought one, I know. Tell me what to tell people in terms of how to get in touch with you, because they'll see you on eBay, on YouTube here, Joe, but they can't get in touch with you directly. So tell me or tell them how to get in touch with you so they can inquire about your prints or the parts that you're selling, and potentially, hopefully, order one. They really are good. The eBay shop is just called Rover Joe's Rover Spares. So there you go, guys. That is a community. Sorry, I'm just swatting flies. I don't want to kill them. I just don't want them to be here in the filming area. So I'm wafting them away rather than actually going for a death move. So yeah, community eBay shop, Rover Joe's Rover Spares. Go to eBay, have a look for it, add it to your saved sellers, and if something comes up that you could use, buy it, and you will be contributing to our friend and community member Rover Joe and him keeping his car open bracket, close bracket, because I'm not up to date on how many cars he's got at the moment. Might just be the one. He might have 73, I don't know. But you'll be helping with that, and that would be a jolly good thing. Neil says, I've been looking at them. They look fabulous. I'm getting one on payday. Is that one of the printy things? Oh, good. Fair play to you. That's brilliant. I bloody love my MJ artwork, says Joe. I saw it, Joe. I saw the picture you did, and it looks great. Joe is super talented. Well, there we are. And we can all enjoy the fruits of his labour and support him. I wouldn't mind one. Well, you know, what I'd love to have is one of each of the fleet and have them on the stairway or something like that. But couldn't possibly afford that. But when I get a payday, I might treat myself to one. Maybe the 45 V6 would be nice to have that. But I'm very happy to publicise them and encourage you all to support our Joe and, you know, get yourself something nice to put on your, well, your house wall if you are not married, and your garage wall if you are married, because your missus is never going to let you hang it inside the house, is she? Oh no. Oh, ow. I've still got this stiff neck. Ugh. Never mind, I expect it will go away at some point. Cheers, guys, says Joe. In fact, I've just finished doing a Rover 400 HHR saloon and hatchback. Excellent. Right, now, I was talking about minge bag, wasn't I? Oh, there is something else that I want to show you, but I've done it on the daily diary, and it feels like cheating if I do it on here as well. No. Yeah. Neil says, my missus has both entry photos from Pride of Longbridge in her room. Oh, well, yeah, but, you know, you've got a petrol head for a missus. You're lucky. Maybe you would get away with these things. Other people whose wives are not particularly interested in cars might not be so lucky. Anyway, minge bag. So, I'm on my way to work and the wipers are not working, right? That's where we are so far. Skick says, the only Rover I would be interested in would be a 3.5 V8 SD1 or a P6B, as in a V8 P6. Both cars that I've owned and both cars that I would be very, very happy to own again. So you got good taste. Oh, I missed that one. From Joe. Skick, what's your name? I feel rude by calling you by your channel name all the time. That's a good point, actually, Joe. That is a good point. I mean, if any of you guys want to stay anonymous, by all means do so. But if you have a channel name that isn't your name and you feel that you're amongst friends and would be comfortable with us addressing you by your actual name, please do let us know what it is and we'll feel just a little bit closer to you. Now, minge bag. Okay, so I get to work without a problem. I don't have any delays. The temperature gauge has stayed constant at just below very fractionally below the midway point. I've had to go the long way to work because the roadworks that I've got caught in twice. But it was a much more scenic route. And when you're driving an MGTF with the top down, that was absolutely fabulous. I had a really good drive to work. I really enjoyed it. And other than the wipers and the fear that it might rain, absolutely no concerns whatsoever. I get to work and no driver tonight. So I had to nip out and do a few deliveries and whatnot. And that gave me a chance to see what was actually happening with the temperature and with the fan and all of that sort of thing. Oh, that's interesting. Skick says, Joe, I'll give you a clue. Boats named one of his cars the same name as my name. Interesting. So is Skick called Shison? Or no, he's not. I'm sure he's not called Fanny or Mingeback. So, oh God, let's note that down. So what's left? Right, everybody's going for it. I don't need to do the jokes. Is your name Stigbürt von Thündercock? Is your name Fanny or Boo? I reckon I know what it is. In fact, it's got to be that. That's the only name that it could be. Oh no, I didn't. That's not my bet, Derek. Jaden, no, I don't reckon it's Derek, and I certainly don't think it's Wetleg, Joe. My money is on Richard. My money is on Dick a Dum Dum or Sir Richard Morris. I reckon it's Richard. No doubt we will find out. Oh, and Joe says, I've just managed to sell some Rover 25 dashboard switches and some sill threads. I'm going to have a look, Joe, because there are some bits that I need that you might have. In fact, there are loads of bloody bits that I need that you might have. Oh, yeah, Joe's gone for the same guess as me. So, where was I? Minge bag. Yeah, so we're at work, we're dodging around, and this is what I've found. Now, I need to do some research into the fans on the F/TF. I know that there are two. I'm not sure which are supposed to kick in when and whatnot. But I know that there's a fan in the engine bay somewhere in the area of the... somewhere in the area of the offside rear wheel. There's an engine fan somewhere around that. Now that fan is that fan is kicking in, but whether it's kicking in at the right time is another question. But it's working, and it does kick in periodically. But I don't know exactly how effective it is. It's all a bit complicated, but I mean, to cut a long story short, then Minchbag is perfectly drivable as long as you don't, except if you sit when it's hot with the engine idling for an extended period of time. You know, waiting at a roundabout, waiting at a junction, that hasn't been a problem at all. But if you sit for an extended length of time, then if the fan hasn't already kicked in, the temperature will eventually start to creep up. Now, I've not let it creep up too far, obviously, you know, for very obvious reasons. I don't want to risk damaging the car, but from what I can tell, at least one fan is kicking in. It's controlling the temperature to some degree, and under normal, well, I mean, I haven't had to turn the car off because of the temperature once tonight, and I've been using it for dodging about, and I must have put 100 miles on it tonight, so that's all good as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there obviously is a potential issue there, but it's no worse than driving a British Leyland car of the 1970s, where you know damn well that if you get caught in a hold-up on the motorway, you either have to turn the engine off, or you turn the heating on or something. It's just like that, not even that bad. So I don't see a problem with using the car, to be honest. It's been fine, except obviously we've got broken wipers. The half of the dash lighting decided to not work when it became a bit dusky. What else was there? Oh, the CD player has swallowed a CD and is refusing to accept that there's a CD in there. So I need to find a way of getting that out. But all in all, I mean, the evening actually went okay, because I decided that I would try and fix the wipers. So I thought, well, could be a fuse. Could be a fuse, couldn't it? So I thought it could just be a loose connection or something like that, or it might be a little bit seized and need a thump. So when I had a little bit of downtime, I jumped onto the old interweb to look for common problems, and wipers are a common fault on the F&TF. And the most common fault, it would seem, is that the wiper motor gets waterlogged, believe it or not. There's a cover, a scuttle cover, underneath the front scuttle that's supposed to protect it, but it kind of doesn't. And during rain or during washing even, your water motor can get bloody waterlogged. So I thought, oh. Now, I read on a forum that if the wash is working, then the fuse is okay. So I thought, well, it can't be that. And I thought, well, I'll hope it doesn't rain tonight, but tomorrow I'll have a bit of a fiddle with things. And, you know, I mean, we've had nothing but rain for the last month. And I had a look at the cover, and the cover is improperly fitted slightly, or was. So, you know, perhaps that was the issue. Perhaps there was residual water in the wiper motor. And I thought, well, I'll have a look tomorrow. As long as I get home okay tonight, it'll be okay. But just to be on the safe side, I offered a quick prayer to the FSM. And it went along the lines of, dear FSM, if you could reach out with your noodly appendage and sort my bloody wipers, I'd be really grateful. And guess what? The almighty FSM must have been in a good mood tonight, because he did exactly what I asked him to. He reached out with his noodly appendage and my wipers started working perfectly. Almost. Flick wipe, yes. Normal intermittent, yes. Normal speed, yes. Double speed, yes. Watch the windscreen, no automatic wipe. But I don't know if it's supposed to do that. So they might be working 100% correctly. And so, yeah, that's brilliant. And that was a gift from the almighty FSM himself. Or the motor was a bit waterlogged and driving the car around sort of shook the water out of it. But I like to think it was the FSM at work. So that solved that problem. The dash lighting sorted itself out. So that solved that problem. And the car was suddenly kind of pretty much fault free, which means that I've spent this evening driving around in what is already a nice car, a cool blue TF limited edition, but with all of these extra things done to it. I mean, I told you before when we went through the paperwork, the guy bought it last August and it wasn't cheap. He bought it from a dealer, he paid all the money for the car, and then he threw 4,000 to 5,000 quid at it, doing all of these upgrades. So I've been driving around in a nice car that's had 4,000 to 5,000 quid worth of upgrades to make it even more amazing. And all of the faults have solved themselves. The overheating fan thing wasn't really an issue at all. And I have been a very happy and satisfied customer. I mean, the car is beyond amazing, and that's it now. So there's no reason why the car can't be used. I mean, it could even be sold if somebody wants to buy it. I mean, you'd have to pay decent money for it, because I'm really, really fond of it. But if you want to buy it, you can. And even if you paid all of the money that I would want, it would still be half or less than half of what this chap paid for it at the back end of last year and what he paid to have done to it. So there you go. So I'm really, really, really chuffed about that. It's a fabulous thing, and I'm going to get whatever pleasure I can out of it whilst we've still got decent weather, and possibly beyond if I can find a hard top. So, Joe, dear boy, you might get the pleasure of, depending on what the weather does on Monday, I was thinking you might have the pleasure of a day in Mingebag, because I thought we could take her to the yard. I wouldn't pick you up from the station in it, because from the sound of it, you're bringing about 249 suitcases, so we'll need a bigger car. But we could go in it on Monday, if the weather's decent, and have a boys-only top-down thrash through the Peak District. That would be fun. Right, let's catch up with some comments, because, gosh, time is marching on, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, Joe says, I'll be thinking of posting a Rover 25 electric window conversion kit. Interesting. Not sure yet, though. Is this something you want me to look at while I'm up there, asked Neil? Oh, God. Come up for a week, mate, and look at everything. I'll feed you really well and get you drunk every night. I put up a fog light conversion kit yesterday, which could be useful for someone. That's from Joe again. Gosh, we all need to go and have a look at Joe's shop. Sounds like there's some good stuff in there. And Neil goes on to say, I can see something dangerous happening with you and the electricity. Yeah, it's not generally a good mix. Me and anything hands-on is not generally a good mix. Fuse, or could it be the motor, asked Joe. Some of your videos do have an ASMR content, says Skick, and I don't know what that... Oh, have we had a... Right, are we still guessing that the name is Richard? We haven't had confirmation. I don't know what ASMR is. Now, Liz did tell me something sensory, something, but I mean, is it just like a chilled out theme, something like that? I do watch a YouTube channel that bangs on about that. Marry Life, a very beautiful, I think she's Korean woman with a nice new discovery, or newish discovery, who goes off and does campy type things and cookie outy type things, and she never talks. It's all it's all just noise. And she says ASMR a lot in the descriptions. So it's like babbling rivers and tinkering brooks and sizzling food and all of that sort of thing. I quite enjoy watching the odd video of hers. Could be linkages, says Neil. Well, it's working now, so I'm hoping when I get my welder, I'm going to do some videos welding up the Honda Civic, says Joe, which, if you didn't know, is the same shape as your Rover 45, same body shell. I love the pictures of the ZTT, says Soph. Will you take Fanny as Part X? Oh, Rob! Hello, Rob. I didn't know you were here. Hell yeah, of course I would. Of course I would. Fanny's amazing. But if she came back as a part exchange, then I would see that as a sign from the FSM that I was supposed to get rid of all of my silver cars and start a new fleet of anthracite. A new fleet of anthracite cars. Joe says, yes, I've got a suitcase and 2 bags, don't ask. It's mostly both yours and Paul's presents. Oh, that's very sweet. Yes, please, can we go in minge bag? I've never been in a TF or an F. Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope for some good weather, and let's take minge bag for a bloody good thrash. We'll have a good laugh, Joe. I'd like to give her a damn good run. I mean, the car is beyond amazing to drive. I was thinking this tonight when I was tooling about, especially when I was driving home. Now, okay, it's been a while since I've had anything nice, but in my mind, minge bag is pretty much as exciting as anything that I've ever owned stroke driven. I mean, you know, if I drove them back to back, then maybe she wouldn't be, but in my mind she is. Now, you know, and bear in mind I've had Ferraris and Lamborghinis, although that is, you know, as Skick said yesterday, that was back when Noah was building his ark, so maybe I've forgotten, but honestly, for a normal person, when I was young and indestructible, it was different, but I wouldn't want to be taking a 355 out and pushing it, because I'd be terrified of the value. I probably don't have the skill as a driver to the same extent that I had back then, in that I've got more experience, but I'm older, my reactions are probably slower. I reckon an F or TF, certainly one like minge bag that's souped up beyond all, and he's putting out some real power and revs and noise and all of that sort of thing, and is really well set up. It's all that you need for maximum fun, and you're not going to bankrupt yourself, and you're probably not going to kill yourself, so you can have all the fun without any of the cost or danger, if that makes any sense. So honestly, I think that Mingebag is well and truly up there in terms of, however you want to call it, driving fun, smiles per mile, smiles to the pound. You're not going to do better. It's incredible. And remember, at the end of the day, you're driving a Longbridge Lamborghini, a small mid-engine car, the engine behind your head, rear-wheel drive where it should be. I mean, it's just fabulous. I can't tell you. And if you guys have never had an F40F and you're in a situation where you could have one in your life, do it. And do it now before the prices start going silly. Oh, a good bit of black country here from Sophie. Oh no, I ain't doing that. I love that. Sometimes, says Skick, when I'm sat here listening to you or watching a film with my strawberries and after eights, oh, you posh devil, you. I'm so glad I live on my own. I love the freedom and peace. I totally get that, mate. I totally get that. That's something that I love too. And interestingly, on Singles, my other community, there's a chap, a friend of mine, Martin. Now, I'm very fond of Martin. We met in Singles and we've met in real life. But he is a proper car nut, proper petrol head. He's a dealer. He deals in very exotic stuff. So, you know, whereas my dailies are MG Rovers, his are Bentley, Ferrari, Lamborghini, you name it, he probably currently owns it. He's the guy, talking about classic minis, he's the guy who bought Tyson Fury's classic mini off Tyson Fury. And the picture of the two of them is ridiculous. I mean, you've got Martin, who's a bit of a lot of a unit, not quite as tall as me, an inch or two shorter, but 3 times as wide, massive guy. You wouldn't want to argue with him. And then you've got obviously Fury, who's like the ultimate unit, isn't he? 6'9" world heavyweight boxing champion. So the pair of them in a classic mini is barking. But Martin hangs out. He's a very, very busy man. His son is also an aspiring racing driver who's doing really, really well, Johnny. And Martin is supporting him massively. So between that and his work and whatever else he does, he's a very, very busy guy. But he pops into the Facebook group, the Boaty's World Facebook group. He pops into Singles every now and then and we have a chat. And I'm going to go and spend a day with him at one circuit or other, watching his son race and watching the other stuff. That's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to that. But I put up a post in Singles. I'm not in there like I used to be. I mean, Singles was like 24/7 for me back in the day, and it's not now. You know, all of my interest, my priority, it's all you guys and YouTube now. Has been and will continue to be. But I still, you know, I've still got Singles, and I still try and do a bit now and then. So I went in there the other day, put a load of posts up to start some conversation because the group was a bit flat. And one of them was, I was asking, what's one of the main issues why you choose to be single or why you're unlikely or unable to find a relationship? And Martin replied to that. And he said, and I thought this was really insightful, he said something along the lines of, my life is so wonderful at the moment that I haven't met anybody currently who is so amazing that I would risk compromising my daily life for. And that struck a chord with me because that's exactly the situation that I'm in. I'm not averse to having another relationship. I think deep down, probably all of us would love to meet that forever ever person that you're going to grow old with. But my life is brilliant at the moment. I love it. I adore it. And like Martin also said, I'm really busy. To make time for a relationship or even a potential relationship would mean taking away from the life that I've got now, because every minute of every day is taken up. Now, if I choose to do nothing, okay, that's a choice. But every minute of every day, there's something to do. There's all of the restaurant work to do. There's videos to edit, videos to make. There's a fleet of cars that all need things doing to them. Even if it's only just washing them to make sure that they're sorted, checking the level, do all of that sort of thing. So literally every minute is spoken, and that's without housework and cooking and all of that, and having a bit of fun, having a road trip. And that's why I'm not dating at the moment, because I don't want to give up any of that time. Now, if somebody came along that was like wonderful and clicked all the buttons, then of course I'd go with it. And if it was somebody who had some form of interest in kind of the same thing, whether that's YouTubing or cars or whatever, then that would make it so much easier. But I'm certainly not out there chasing, because I don't want to lose the life that I've got now. And I certainly don't want to risk losing it for something that's, oh, I don't know. Is that making any sense? Why am I even talking about that? I can't remember what I started talking about. Oh yeah, Skick, wasn't it? Talking about the freedom and peace of being on your own. Anyway, Skick goes on to say, jumping on a 1970s fast classic at 1 in the morning, or going for late drives, heaven to me. Totally get that, Skick. Totally get that. I'm exactly the same. I'm exactly the same. There are, you know, and again, going back to the single versus relationship, if you don't love your life as a single person, then you will never ever be happy in a relationship, because you will be looking for somebody to make your life okay. And that is a recipe for any relationship to fail. But that's more single stuff than us stuff, because most of you lot aren't single, so that doesn't work. I'm not going to hand Fanny back just yet, says Rob. Good man. Neil, I haven't had a chance to have a look yet, but I will do so. But can we have a drive out in Dick-a-Dum-Dum, please, asked Joe. Yeah, absolutely. I figured I'd probably pick you up from the station in Dick-a-Dum-Dum, or if not, we'll go out for a drive on the Tuesday before you bugger off. I've followed that car, Dick-a-Dum-Dum, for years over many YouTube videos, and a super fanboy of that car. Was jealous that you bought it. You're probably not alone. I'm so happy to own that car, and yeah, absolutely, I'll make sure you get some time in it. And do some videoing while you're here, Joe, just for your own memory banks, or to post up if you want to post up. But absolutely, you will get a drive in Dick-a-Dum-Dum. I've got very lucky with my missus, says Neil. She's into everything I'm into. Everything? Sorry. And likes to do the same things as me. But please don't tell Sophie that she would go mental. Oh, Mustard's here. Hello. He's done his normal thing. He's rocked up when I'm just about to finish, so he can say, oh yeah, I was editing, but yeah, I saw as much of your live stream as I could, mate, darling. I watched the last 43 seconds. How you doing, Mustard? You okay, mate? Yeah, exactly, Joe. I will 100% be filming and taking photos. I was editing, you plank. says, well, I know you were, I'm only teasing. Right, darlings, that is about it for tonight. It is 7 minutes past, and that is it until Monday. Gosh, I hate this bit. I hate not seeing you for a few days, but you need a break, I'm sure, and I probably need a break as well. I've got to, spend the weekend doing some bits, getting things ready for the madness of Monday and all of that. Bloody fly again. Go on, be off with you. I've got a really good supper tonight, and I'll show you that, because otherwise I'll give in, and I'll show you the thing that's on the daily diary that I don't want to show you, because I want the daily diaries to have some unique stuff. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my God. Nepalese kind of chow mein, Nepalese noodles. Fresh noodles with chicken, slices of chicken tikka, peppers, onion, and loads of beautiful Nepali Himalayan herbs and spices. This is quite a rare treat. We don't often get this, but we did it tonight, and I'm so looking forward to that. And there we go. There we go. Guys, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for the whole week. Thank you for supporting the live streams. Thank you to those of you who've become channel members this week, and to all of you who already were channel members. Thank you for that support. It means the world. Yeah, gosh, have a fabulous weekend. And bloody flies everywhere. I hope you have a great time, and I will be back with you on Monday. It's going to be exciting. We've got maybe before Monday. We'll see what happens, but Friday and Saturday are going to be dulled out. Well, not dull, but just, relatively less eventful days, but you'll see that on the daily diaries. And then Sunday, Joe's coming up. Monday's going to be a massive day at the yard. I don't know what's happening Monday night yet. You might get 3 of us on Monday night, because Joe might want to jump in on Monday Night Live, and Simon is talking about coming over on Monday, because he wants to meet Joe as well. He's working Monday day, so he can't come to the yard, but he's talking about coming here to Windy Bum on Monday night, in which case he will be jumping in on the live stream with me and Joe. So that could be fun, and then there'll be, it's going to be all sorts of excitement. It's going to be wonderful. But you have an amazing weekend. Oh, I know, Skick. I know. Do you work on Sundays, Jason? Yeah, I do. Yeah, so I forgot what time you're getting here, Joe, but I need to leave here on Sunday, I need to be leaving at 4:15 at the latest. So can't remember what time your train gets in. I know you told me, but that was for the first time. I'm not sure if it's changed. Oh, okay. My train's getting there about 3:30. That'll be fine, Joe. Not a problem at all. Both Windy Bum and your hotel are about 25 minutes from the train station in a fast car. So not a problem to get you. I won't be able to spend any time with you really, mate, to be honest, on the Sunday. I'll pretty much just have to dump you at the hotel, make sure you're okay, and then say goodbye and leave you to settle in and get some value out of your hotel room and whatnot. You'll like it. I'm sure you'll like it. Well, we can talk about that. And then obviously I'll see you on the Monday morning. But yeah, not a problem to get you from the train station. Don't you worry about that. 3:36, not a problem at all. No, I won't be late, Joe. You'll be absolutely fine. Don't get a taxi. That's going to cost you a right few quid. I'll pick you up, and that'll give us a chance to have a little bit of time together before the Monday. Right, I'm going to fart you out, darlings. Bear with. Here we go. All right, darlings. Thank you so much again for your company tonight and throughout the week. Have an amazing weekend. Have a safe and peaceful night. Take the best care of yourselves and have the best time that you possibly can. And I will catch up with you very, very soon. But, you know, there's always a Facebook group, Boaty's World on Facebook. Join if you haven't already. There'll be daily diaries, and there might even, you know, who knows what's going to happen. There might be a cheeky live at some point. But worst case scenario, I will catch up with you live on Monday. Possibly two. There might be one from the yard. And there'll certainly be the normal Monday. Let's all go to bed and don't hog the bedclothes. Much love to you all. Bye bye.